Good morning. Good morning. What's up, Mike?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm really good. So it looks like you're in the office, huh?
I'm in the office, man. Look at me. I've got my suit on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I went with the pop of color for the tie today.
Yeah.
Trying to make it happen. Trying to make it work.
Looking fresh to death, Mike.
I love that.
Fresh to death. By the way, really like that. You're in Sadie's office, correct? Sadie's our director of coaching and training on the team. You're in Sadie's office, correct?
Yes.
She's got on her wall a big thing that says "Begin each day with a grateful heart," which I think is a cool thing. We usually end the live Q&A with "Begin each day with a grateful heart," but maybe today we begin the call with "Begin each day with a grateful heart." What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Sorry to put you on the spot.
For me, it means okay, you can't be in a place of both gratitude and be like angry or depressed or whatever that looks like, right? So to me, it means two things. One, whenever my mindset goes sideways at all, or I'm getting upset with something, or I'm frustrated, start with what am I grateful for, and find one thing and focus on it. Whether it's having amazing parents, an amazing sister, an amazing niece, having amazing business partners, whatever that looks like. And then second, because you can't be both grateful and irritated, right? And then second, the easiest way to, in my opinion, the easiest way to get out of a mind space or a head funk is help somebody.
Oh.
We'll volunteer. Call Meals on Wheels, call Habitat, call somebody and get out there and spend a few hours helping somebody that might be less fortunate than we are. Change your life.
Yeah. Steve Harvey talks about this, right? Family Feud, Steve Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious guy, by the way. I think it's so fun. I think sometimes I'm scrolling on Facebook and I see the Family Feud clips. And I watch them, they're hysterical to me. The guy's just so quick on his feet. But anyway, he also puts out a lot of videos. Like if you go on YouTube and you look at Steve Harvey, he's got a bunch of motivational videos.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he talks about in one of them, and he's on the set of Family Feud. Sorry,
yeah.
Price is Right is Drew Carey. Anyway, he's on the set of Family Feud, and he's talking to the crowd. You can tell it's in between takes or something. And one of the things that he talks about is joy and depression. And I don't think he means mental health depression. I don't think he's saying a clinical way. So please don't take it that way. But joy and depression cannot exist in the same space. That's what he says, right? In this clip. And then what he says is, okay, so joy and depression can't exist in the same space. And what's more joyful than gratitude? Just being grateful for what you got. You know what I mean?
I would 100% go with that.
Anyhow. Cool stuff. It's good. I'm really glad that Sadie has it in her office. Okay. Hey, so sorry for the tangent this morning, you guys, but I think it's important to talk about it. I don't think it's – matter of fact, one of our core values on the team, Mike, we talk about them all the time within our team, but it's great to share with the public too, is real estate is not about the money. And you can insert – you get to insert anything that you do. Right, being a doctor is not about the money. Whatever it is, right? Real estate is not about the money. It's about what it accomplishes for our lives and our families. And so, anyway, I think when you have conversations that are bigger than just the business or whatever business that you're in, I think it's important. So anyway, so hey, good morning, guys. Welcome to the Q&A. We do this every Saturday, 10 a.m. We do this every Saturday, 10 a.m. and we've been doing this for I don't know, a year and a half. I don't know how long we've been doing it at this point. Thank you, Rashiko. Yeah. And
that's a great comment. Never be sorry. Yeah, never be sorry for brief tangent about good mental health and caring for others. Good stuff. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Man, you could get a long way in life, both for yourself and for others, just by being kind. Isn't that funny how that works? Just be kind.
Yeah.
Be kind to people and be kind to yourself, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, so we do this Q&A every single Saturday. We've been doing it for, I don't know, a year and a half, something like that. And so here's the format. You can ask anything you want to know about real estate, and we will answer it very candidly. And matter of fact, some of the best stuff comes from questions that you guys have. And so please put those in. I'm Austin Pothast. I'm the director of sales on the team. Mike Perna is our CEO. And looking dapper in the three-piece, my friend.
Not bad. I put the tie on with the pop of color. I kind of like it.
Mm-hmm.
Too much? Is it too much? Is it too much? Too little?
Oh,
Is all right. It works. Okay.
it's
Okay.
right where you need to be. I think you're right in your lane, dude. Right in your lane.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I got stuff. You got stuff? You got anything on your mind? By the way, throw your questions in there. I got stuff though.
You know, I don't have a ton on my mind, but I want to hear what's on your mind. Let's go there first, and then I'll pick it up as we go.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what's on my mind. Sticker shock. Sticker shock's on my mind.
Dude, tell me about it.
Let me paint a picture on that. Okay.
Well, and I was at shoot, what was I doing? Oh yeah, that's right. I got back into town. I did some grocery shopping. I bought eggs, and it was like $6 for the carton.
Oh,
is that what we're talking about?
Sure.
Well, no, they were like the organic, cage-free, and there were 20. It was a pack of 24 eggs, not just but yeah.
Yeah, it's all the same stuff. It's all the same topic.
It really is all the same.
The longer you go on in life, right? The longer you go on in life, the more things. It's just inflation. It's just natural stuff. The more things go up in price. Like my guess is you could have a conversation with somebody older than you, and they could tell you about how they used to buy candy bars for 20 cents or whatever it is. And now I don't know what a candy bar is these days. It's probably $1.20, right? So that means it's gone up 600% over the past 50 years or whatever it is, right?
Well, I think a lot of statements begin with a back in my day kind of a similar phrase. Yeah. Back in my day, gas was 86 cents a gallon.
Yeah.
Actually, it was 86 cents a gallon back in my day. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was 16.
Look, assets and goods, perishables, everything goes up over the course of time. Assets, by the way, part of the reason that they're defined as an asset is amen. Thank you, Loretta. Assets are the reason that they're assets is because you buy something and it goes up in value, right? I mean, right? Like you buy a car, your car's going down in value over the course of time, right? But you buy a home, it's going up in value. You buy stocks, or you buy equities, right? Not on an individual, but you buy the market, it goes up in value.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
These are assets, right?
Well, and qualifying that a little bit, there's diminishable assets and appreciable assets. Diminishable assets are generally speaking assets. They go down in value because they diminish, right? Yeah. Like as you're driving the car, you're wearing down the shocks. As you're driving the car, it's the tires, it's the engine, it's the transmission, it's all of that wear and tear. With a house, it's a little bit different because you start replacing things. So you start replacing the roof, replacing the windows, replacing the furnace and the AC, whatever that looks like. The eggs that I bought at the store last week might be worth $6 for the carton now, but 3 weeks from now, when the due by date is like a week ago, that you can't give them away.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
you could give them away on your. You could give them away on somebody you don't like's front lawn. I'm kidding, by the way. We don't encourage egging people.
We do not encourage egging people.
We don't encourage that kind of behavior. But anyway.
Morning, Ronnie.
So what's up, Ronnie? Ronnie's the man. What's up, buddy? So what's interesting is I'm finding a lot of our clients are having sticker shock. So let me paint a scenario for you, Mike. Let's pretend that you've been in your home for 20 years. You raised your family there, right?
Sure.
And you decide one day that you want to downsize. And the reason that you want to downsize, there's a whole list of reasons that you want to downsize. But among them are, look, I don't need this much space. Right now I got 2-3 rooms in my home that I don't even like. I can't even open them up. I gotta like keep the door shut. I turn off the register. I don't even heat them. I don't clean them. They just turn into a clutter thing. Maybe it's like a stairs thing, right? I don't want to climb up and down the stairs. I'm getting a little older. I want to get a ranch. Maybe it's a maintenance thing. I don't want to push the lawnmower. I don't want to do the snow blower. I don't want to right. These are like real life things, right? People live in a home for 20, 30 years, raise a family, and then eventually they need to leave it because there's a purpose behind it. Or maybe they want to quote unquote cash out, take some money out, right? Sell it, buy something a little lower, sell it, and then end up, what's up, Wael? Well, we call him Willie. What's up, Willie? Great guy.
Really good dude.
Great family guy. One of the funniest guys ever. He does hilarious impressions, by the way. Like he's got an impression. Oh my God, it's so funny. You should see. He does impressions of everybody. It's hysterical. But anyway, and so people are running into sticker shock because like here. So watch this. You bought your house 20 years ago, and let's pretend that you bought your house 20 years ago for $100,000, right? And now you're staring down 20 years later, your place is worth $250,000. Like it's gone up to 250,000.
Yeah.
Now back in those days, a condo might have been like the condo that you want, a ranch condo that has like the 2-bedroom, 2-bath and in a nice community and has the pool or whatever that you want to downsize into. Like you think that condo should be worth 200,000.
Morning, Gerard.
Hey, Gerard. The sticker shock of it is that it's actually worth 250 or 275. And it's like, and so the things that start coming out of clients' mouths at that point, Mike, is like, man, I'm not seeing anything I like. Yeah. I'm not seeing anything on the market. I'm not seeing anything. But the truth of the matter is what you're actually saying, or what people are actually saying when they say that is, I'm not seeing anything on the market for the price that I think it should cost.
Right.
For the price that I think it should cost. Yeah.
You know, we're in kind of two different paradigms on this. And I'm going to use a very specific example. My parents, when they built their house in 84, which always reminds me of George Orwell for some reason, but when they built their house in 1984, it cost, I believe it was $138,000 all in. Right. I mean, they had to do like window treatments and things like that. And, they had base builder paint and, so there are other things that had to be done over time. Right. But 138,000. When they sold it in 2002, they sold it for 367.
Wow. Doubled up.
Yeah. Now, check this out. The down market hit. The house resold. And if I remember right, it was 310. And then the home just resold again last year at 420.
Yeah.
So even with the down market, things still go up in value. So in the eye of the storm, the thing sold for 310, but it still rebounded, came back in value and added value over that 11-year period to sell at 410.
Yeah.
410 or 420, one of those two, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's a great point.
Yeah. And it's when we're looking to buy something, we're always looking like, oh my gosh, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a car. It doesn't matter what it is. We're looking at it from the perspective of, man, this should be less. And then when we're looking to sell something, same thing on the other side. It should be more, right? Mm-hmm. And some of that has because on the selling side, you have some emotional attachment to it. So there is the thought and the paradigm coming from my house should be more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's both. It's both. But to your point, I mean, there's a lot of sticker shock, especially right now. Nationally, we've had, one of the fastest run-ups in real estate over the last 3 years, over the last 12 months. I mean, home prices across the U.S. increased 13.2%. Case-Shiller Index just came out showing that. Here in Metro Detroit, we were a little closer to 15%. Yeah. Above 14%. Some areas as much as 16%. Diving into the micro markets, and that's a fairly quick run up. It really is.
Yeah, it's probably 3 or 4 years of appreciation packed into 1 year.
Yeah, and it was a lot of missed appreciation because we had some years there where of course we went negative, right? We saw that during the last down market, but we also had a couple of years where we didn't really see a ton of appreciation. Like 2014 was not a big year for real estate. It was a good year for real estate. Homes moved, but if you had a home in January that you sold or you sold the same home in December, you'd get within 1% of the same price. We just didn't see that year a ton of appreciation. 13 saw some, 15 saw some, but 14 did not.
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
So
sorry.
So now clients are saying this out of their mouth, right? They're saying, I can't believe how much stuff costs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My guess is everybody who's watching this right now has thought that, right? I can't believe how much stuff costs, right?
Oh, 100%.
Now, implied in that, so by the way, that's only a problem. I mean, right, there's only one scenario where that's a problem. Like if something I think should cost $300,000 costs $350,000, there's only one scenario in which that's a problem, Mike. What is it, by the way?
If interest rates are higher.
Yeah, well, I guess 2 scenarios then. So you stop.
Oh, right. Sorry. So, I would go to interest rates of payment. Yeah.
Yeah. So because we're equating interest rates of payments. So if I buy something for $350, and implied within that statement in some people's minds, the fear in some people's minds is that I'm going to buy something at $350, and then like 2 years from now, it's going to be worth $300.
Yeah. No, that's a very valid fear in the market right now, and a lot of people are bringing that one to light. 100%. No doubt. I cannot tell you how many times I'm hearing. Actually, last year. So a good example. So COVID was going to hit, or it was on the way to hitting, and the fear was by a lot of other real estate brokerages and teams that real estate is just going to crash. But due to swift movement of the government, not only did it crash, but it put all the pieces into place to just absolutely go bonkers. It was already good. We knew that, but it went from like good to bonkers, right? And then even further, again, going into fall, people are thinking, okay, real estate's going to crash. Nope. The market continued to actually get hotter, not less hot. And going into spring, the market's going to crash. Nope. Still heated, still hot out there.
Still going up. Yeah.
Yeah. And it for some people, what I'm seeing is it feels like a bubble, or it feels like a run up in home values that cannot be sustained and will actually fall back 5 or 10%. And I got to challenge it. The data is not there to support it. Like if you look at all the factors of 2006, the last great year of real estate before the crash, and you look at all the factors of today, this year, last year, the year before, none of them actually line up.
Yeah.
None of them line up. And what I mean by that is in 2006, I mean, literally in 2006, home builders were building over 2 million properties a year. 2 million properties are being added to the market every single year. Today, it's 700,000. That's a big difference. That's 1.5 million properties missing. Back then, people used to move once every 7 years. Now people are moving once every 11. So just on resale, just because people are living in their homes longer, we're seeing 40% less homes come to market because there are less people per year putting their homes on the market, period. We're seeing the millennials, which is by demographic, the largest population generation other than the baby boomers. They're now entering the housing market. So demand has flew up. Over a third of buyers right now are millennials. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, not like you, a Gen Xer. I mean, I'm talking me, millennial. Give me some love on that one, guys.
All right. Mike likes to make these jokes because technically I'm 2 weeks old. I mean, not technically. I'm 2 weeks older than him. You're coming up on that 40, Mike.
15 days. Yeah.
15 days. Okay, so interesting. You brought up 2008 and you brought up the government bailout.
Yeah.
Let me reverse back and go back there, because this is something that I've heard you talk about before. When 2008 happened, 2009, and we were in trouble, and then the government came out and bailed out, right? How long did that take? How long did it take for the government to get money into the economy?
Yep. Before I do that, I just want to throw an appreciation out for the one single person that loved my joke. You're my favorite person today. Yeah, it took 18 months.
18 months.
18 months. So at first, the government was like, hey, we're going to do this little couple $100 credit. I'm not kidding. Like a few $100 towards people, right? And it did nothing. It did nothing. It was like throwing a bucket of water on a house fire. It just did not have any effect. I mean, it evaporated before it even hit the fire. And then it took all the way into the middle of 2009 to throw a $700 billion bailout to the banks, right? And frankly, it was done incorrectly. And they know that. And they looked at that point, the economy was it's such in rough shape. They said, we need to do something, and we need to do something fast. And they got off their duff and they finally did something. And then what they did didn't help the people. It didn't help the actual people that needed it. Now they thought, hey, if we prop up the financial institutions a little bit more, if we buy back some of these foreclosures, if we make the banks whole, the banks will start lending again. But they didn't. It was still another full year before we saw the economy really right the ship until 2010.
Can I say this a different way?
Yeah.
Can you guys imagine? We got locked down here in Michigan in March, right?
March 23rd.
March 23rd. Thank you. Okay. And I think nationally it was about the same. Maybe nationally it was like a week later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So call it kind of March, April. If this would have been 08, 09, we still would have not gotten any kind of money.
Right.
Right. We still wouldn't have received money until September. Right. So like we still wouldn't have had, there would have been no like unemployment benefits. There would have been no like cash payouts. There would have been nothing. Right.
Yeah. No, it would have been, and even the interest rate reduction would not have happened yet. Putting more money into the economy, allowing businesses to go and say, okay, the money's cheap enough. I am going to take on that project to redo that factory. Right. Which I know is, and understanding is a little bit more of a long-term play, but look at the short-term play of this, right? So interest rates dropped, right? It dropped from 4% to 3%, right? I've got 4 headlines or 5 headlines that I've read just in the last 60 days showing that $8.5 billion is going into 5 or 6 factories in the U.S. to make these microchips that we just can't seem to get for our cars and our phones and everything else. So these are jobs in redoing and revamping those factories, and these are jobs in actually making those chips. But the only reason why those jobs exist is because companies like Bosch and companies like IBM and things like that are looking at this and saying, well, hey, the money's so cheap, we may as well do it here in the US. So let's go. It's go time on these projects.
Yeah.
We're cool with hiring these people because the money is so darn cheap.
Yeah.
Right. This is what this looks like.
Yeah, they lowered how easy it was to get money. Suzette, we'll get to that. By the way, shout out to you, and I'm sorry that you're going through this. So fast forward to, and by the way, these are not political statements. This is just now fast forward to the economy now. Like the government, I mean, how long did it take for the government to get some bailout money into Americans' hands during
this time?
Yeah.
It was about 5 weeks.
5 weeks.
Like in the account, like the deposit. 5 weeks.
The money hit the account within 5 weeks.
Yep.
Right.
And it was 1.9 trillion on the first bailout. The sum total of all bailouts in the other market, the sum total of all of them combined was 1.1 trillion.
Yep.
So right from the get, they hit 700 or 800 trillion higher to try to prop up the economy. And frankly, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. We saw unemployment spike all the way to 14% mid-June last year, but by September, it was back down to 8.5%. By December, it was back down to 7%. Right now, we're hovering at 6.2 to 6.4.
Yeah.
Fastest recovery we've ever seen.
We've ever seen anything in American history, right? So here's my point, right? Like what people are doing, especially some of us have been around for a while. Like I lived through that last thing when I was in the business, and it was brutal. It was brutal.
It was brutal.
And so brutal. But anyway, so we're equating this to that. Does that make sense? We're trying to compare this to that, and so my point with that is it's not. These aren't the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
These aren't the same thing. So sometimes I've got clients with sticker shock in their head, and what's implied within that sticker shock is I don't want to buy an asset for $350 and then it be worth $300, right? 2 years from now. The reality is this time is not like that time. Is my point. Right?
Well, and to be fair, we are getting better at this. We are getting better at this as we go. And here's what I mean by that. Okay, so this, let's call it a recession. We got through both ends of it in about 8 months.
Yeah.
We got through the run up in unemployment. And by my definition of through it is when unemployment reaches below 8%, because any economist in the world will tell you that's considered a healthy economy. Anything below 8%, anything below 4% is actually a hurtful economy for different reasons, because we just can't find people to do the work, which is where we were for a long time, right? For a couple of years there.
It's kind of where we are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the last one, it took about 4 years to get through. Okay. Yeah. Now, the last major one before that took 11 years to get through. And that was the stock market crash in 1929 and the recession that happened after that, all the way to World War II in 1940. We were just mired in this muck that we just couldn't get out of.
Yeah.
It took 11 years, and then it took 4 years, and now it's 8 to 10 months.
Yep.
We're just getting better at this as we go. Like every time this kind of economic disruption happens, we're getting better at popping out the other end of it. Actually, I've got a good question here as well.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Buyer's market or seller's market? I'd argue both.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. So I'm going to start. Can I start with seller's market?
Yeah.
All right. It's a seller's market because today you're going to get more money for your home than ever in U.S. history, period.
There's less on the market.
Yep.
More competitive bidding.
Yep.
By every economic indicator,
yep.
it would be considered a traditional seller's market.
Yep. And home values are still going up. And I don't see any indication that it's going to go in any other direction than that. I don't think it's going to go up as fast as it has been over the last year, right? I think we're gonna over the next 12 months or 18 months, we're going to slow down to maybe a 4 to 6% appreciation, right? But I think we still got another 10% to go on the run up. So on a buyer's market, it's going to feel today, going back to the sticker shock, it's going to feel today like we are paying a hefty sum of money for a home. But a year from today, you will have gained 10% equity. And if you stay in the home a typical 7 to 11 years, let's say the $300,000 house, that $300,000 house is going to be worth $425 to $450 11 years from now. It just is.
Yeah.
Example of that. We've got a guy on the team, Joe, who had sold a property in Rochester to a couple. What was that? November of 19. And he sold to him for $390, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had moved here for a job. They honestly, like with COVID and everything else, they actually went back to their previous company in Ohio. They determined that they did not actually, it wasn't that they didn't like Metro Detroit, is that they felt that there was no support system here because both of their parents were in Ohio, the families in Ohio, brothers, sisters, cousins, by the dozens, all of it.
Yeah.
So they went ahead and put their home back on the market, and they ended up getting $448.
Yeah.
13, 14 months later.
60 grand, 14 months later. Yeah.
So, Sarah, I'm going to tell you this. There's that old Japanese adage, or maybe it's a Chinese adage, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time? Today. Same thing with home buying. When's the best time to buy a house? Today. When's the next best time? Tomorrow. Yeah. Sooner is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's where I'm going with this. Ready? So I'm glad that you went there. Ready?
Yeah.
Well, actually, all right, keep on going. So that's seller's market. All right, buyer's market, go.
Yeah. Well, no, and that's buyer's market too, right? And that's where I'm going with it is to plant a tree. Like the best time to buy that home or the best time to plant that tree was 20 years ago. Sure. Who knew in 2012 what was going to unfold over the next 10 years with real estate? Nobody could have predicted this. In fact, everybody predicted that we would see a 2 to 4% of steady Eddie appreciation for the next 30 years. That's what economists were really thinking. If you look at one of the most prolific economists out there, Harvey Dent, he put out that what was it? What do you call it? The demographic cliff. That's what he called it. So the demographic cliff, where we were going to run into this millennial demographic cliff, where millennials don't buy properties. They prefer to be more transient, and they prefer to be more experience based and all of those things. So his prediction was real estate would stagnate around 2017. And this was the guy that predicted the last down market. He was like the only one. And he's like, hey, for these 9 reasons, this is what's going to happen. And it never happened. In fact, millennials went the opposite way. They're acting more like their parents than anybody else.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like they're in that mode where they're having the babies, and all of a sudden the focus has shifted. Now education's important for the kids. Location's important for the kids, places of worship, shopping, like all the things that are important to baby boomers at that age are now important to the millennials. Right? So putting a fine point on it, if I were a home buyer, I'd be looking to buy a home rapidly. Because whatever you buy is going to go up in value 10% over the next 12 months and 4 to 6% every year after that.
Yeah.
It's just going to feel like you're overpaying today.
It's just going to feel like you're overpaying today.
That's it. Well, I've got people. Yeah, and I've got people that I've sold homes to, what was that, 6 or 8 months ago? And I mean, we were dragging, not to sound bad, but I almost felt like we were dragging them kicking and screaming into the home saying, hey, no. Yeah. You got to pay that $2,000 more to get what you're looking for. You just give it to the seller, and now they're going and doing refinances. Right. And there was one specifically where the home has gone up in value $40,000, right? From middle of last year to now.
Yeah.
Which is wild. And then and then we have the conversation like, hey, how glad are you that you accepted the seller's counter of the 2,000 because you still made 38,000 more than that?
Yeah. Yeah. So what go,
shoot.
No, that's right. So
help me clarify all this. This is what you're good at.
Yeah. So here's what I would say to people. Like somebody that gets sticker shocked, I would say, are you more concerned with the dollar amount that you're paying for a home or your payment? And I would say 90% of people, because 90% of people are mortgage buyers. You do have the cash, right?
Yeah.
But 90% of people are more concerned with the payment. I know every single month I write a check for my house, right? And you got low interest rates and you got all these things, and it's a lower payment. The other thing I would say to people is, I would ask them how long they intend on living somewhere. Right?
Yeah.
So, and here's why I asked that, Mike. Look, if the answer is 18 months, I probably can make the argument not to move, right? The
Actually,
cost of selling and buying a home and tax stamps and all these things, right? It's a it's. But anyway, so the other thing I would say is, but if you're going to be in your home for 10 years, like you're not going to go wrong. You could have bought at the height of the recession last one. And again, we just demonstrated that this time is not like that time.
Yeah.
Right? That's not political. It's just this time is not like that time.
And Sarah's got a good follow-up question there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Predict if in a year or two it'll be a buyer or seller's market. I want to sell my home and move down to market. You know what's interesting about that, Sarah? My guess is it'll still be a seller's market. And it kind of doesn't matter. And I'll tell you why. Because the market you buy in is the market you sell in.
And Florida is also a hot market.
Yeah. You got a lot of people moving to Florida.
Yeah.
I think you're probably selling in a hot market and moving to a hot market. And 2 years from now, you're probably going to sell in a hot market and move to a hot market.
Well,
the
and
market that you sell in is the market that you buy in.
Yeah, we've got a gentleman on that an agent that shows up on the Zooms, and we're very grateful for. And then we've got another personal friend in Naples and a personal friend of ours in the Orlando Celebration Winter Garden area. And both those markets are on fire, just like Metro Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Same. And if you look at the numbers, like whether it's a Naples, an Orlando, a Tampa, a Fort Lauderdale, right? We've got a good personal friend there as well. All of those markets are operating almost lockstep with the Detroit market, like within 1 or 2% appreciation. Yeah. So to Austin's point, if you wait a year, and let's say your home goes up 10% in value, the one that you're buying is also going up 10% in value. Yeah. So Sarah, my advice to you, and we've known each other since middle school. I know that. We've known each other since middle school. My advice to you is focus on the right time. Don't focus on the right time for your family, not the right time for how much can I juice out of this house to get to the next one.
Yeah. You can't time the market.
Yeah.
If you could time the market, you'd be a cajillionaire.
True.
You can't time the stock market.
No.
Right? You just can't time it. So this and the market that you buy in is the market that you sell in, right? So if the market's up, you're also going to buy when it's up. You're going to sell when it's up. And if the market goes down a little bit or dips a little bit, you're going to sell. The market's going to be dipped a little bit. And you're going to buy when the market's going to dip a little bit. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So I think, and this is just me. How I would do it is I would have that conversation of saying, okay, when would be the perfect time to be in Florida, and for what personal, not real estate reasons, and then start operating out of that calendar.
Yep.
Because like to Austin's point, wherever you sell is wherever you buy, same market, and that's not every market. So there are some markets. Actually, for some reason, Wasilla, Alaska comes to mind, where Wasilla is just stagnated. It was on fire before, but it's just kind of stagnated recently. I read that report the other day. There are 2 parts of California that have just kind of stagnated a little bit. There are a couple key little areas of the U.S. where stagnation is kind of occurring, or has been occurring, and they didn't see the run-ups that we saw.
Yeah.
But if you also look at those job markets, for the most part, they're not heavy job markets either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, throw up Wales comment.
Oh, I was going to throw up Rashiko's first.
Yeah, okay. I've heard
he was
having a servant's heart in regards to serving our clients in real estate. How do you deal with feelings or accusations of being bothersome or predatory salespeople? I don't know. How would you answer that? I'm not aware of any. In my opinion, we handle ourselves with the utmost ethics.
Always.
Yeah.
And here, okay. Well, and I want to speak to that a little bit. So one of our inside salespeople, Mike Cantrell, was on the phone with somebody the other day, and the person felt, and it was a different agent. The person felt, and this is the reason why he called us. The person felt the other person was being predatory and pushy. And Mike's answer was, "Hey man, this is your home purchase. Our job is to guide you. Our job is to give you the advice you want when you ask the questions. But at the end of the day, this is you and your family that's got to live there." Yeah. So if you say, and I listened to the call, and Mike said to him, "Hey, if you ask one of our agents the question, what's it going to take to get this house? They're going to tell you the truth. It may not be what somebody wants to hear so much, going back to the sticker shock market, but whatever that truth is, that's what we're going to answer with."
Man, that's a great point. It's one of the things that I say to our salespeople all the time, Mike.
Yeah.
You're never going to sell someone a house they don't want to buy. You can't.
No.
We're not selling. You know, like I don't know if you ever done like a timeshare thing, and you go to the timeshare thing, and those guys are like in your face. Or like there's another one. I once filled out a slip at the mall to win a free truck, and it was like for like a campground thing that you bought a membership in, and those guys called me a bunch.
Yeah.
Look, we are as real estate agents and as salespeople, and this is the way that I train our team, Rashiko, is we are the stewards of a transaction. It's our job to get you the information. It's our job to give you your options and allow you to make the best decision for you and your family.
Yeah.
Right. And so what's interesting is going back to our theme of sticker shock. I'll give you another example of that. Let's pretend we have a client that says, I don't want to go above $300,000. Like, and I'm just making up a number, right? And what I would coach someone on our team, and by the way, this is what I would tell a client to do. Right.
Well, this is what you told me to do.
This is what I would tell you to do.
I know what you're going to say, and you told me to do this with my own home purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Shoot.
And so here's what I would say: tell a client to do. Hey, what I find is clients fall into two camps. They either can't spend more than $300,000, meaning they talk to the mortgage guy, and the mortgage guy said, "Look, 300 is your top." Right. Now we know the parameters that we got to work in if that's the case. Most of the time, though, that's not the case. Most of the time, our clients are approved for 350 or 375. They just don't want to spend more than 300 because of that sticker shock, because they're looking at this home and what they think it should be worth based on what home prices were 5 years ago. Right. Yeah. And so my advice to you and my advice to anybody in that case is like, go look at the 300 and go look at the 350.
Yeah.
Right. And then you get to make this decision. Ready for the decision? Because I know if I take $10,000 and I plug it into my calculator on a 30-year fixed and I put in a 3%, it's $4,250. Every $10,000 is $4,250, which means that an increase of $50,000 on your home purchase is about $200. If we take into account that maybe your taxes and insurance are a tad higher, let's round up and say 250 just for rounding error. Okay. Yeah. You're safe at 250. Agreed?
Yep.
Okay. I agree. So then you at least know all of your information to make the best decision for you and yourself. Now you can look at it and say, would I rather have this home or would I rather have this home for $250 more?
Yeah.
Right. And that's not, to me, that's not pushing anything on anybody. Here's all the information so that you can make the best decision for you and your family. Now, what I find is some clients would rather spend, and I don't care either way. It's not that I don't care, but I don't think it matters either way what the client decides. They're either deciding that they can do a few more updates on the property, or they're deciding that they'd rather pay a little bit more to get something that's done, HGTV to the nines, right? Yeah. Same kind of thing. Like I might even show a client, Rashiko, a $300,000 home and a $400,000 home. And at least then you can make a decision. Would I rather have this home or would I rather have this home for $500 more a month?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I just did this with a really good friend of mine, and he was moving, and he moved into Walled Lake, and he had said, "Hey, I want to keep around $300,000." I said, "Great." And we went out one day, and I showed him some $300,000 homes. I showed him some 350s, and I said, "Hey, I know it feels way above. I just want to show you what a 400 looks like."
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Oh," and he actually ended up buying a 420 because for him it was worth spending an extra $600 a month to get that house. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I think we're the stewards of our decision. And so I'd give that same advice to anybody. You're right, Mike. I gave it to you, didn't I?
Yeah.
So, hey man, you're the one who's got to live in this home. You're the one who's got to live in this home for the next 10 years. So would you rather live in this home or would you rather live in this home?
Yeah.
Right.
And to your point, to your point, I don't realtors are the worst clients. Real estate buyers, doctors are the worst patients.
For sure.
It just is what it is. And, my intention was to live in the next one for maybe 4 years. But the reality is that's not going to happen. It's going to be 10 years. So why not, and to your point, why not buy the 10-year home now? And even if you're stretching just a bit, you're growing into it. And at least you aren't selling something and buying something again when you've overgrown that home. Yeah. It's a great point. It's a great point because, at $200 a month, is it worth it for me to get to the next property? Yes, actually it is for me.
Yeah.
Because now I'm not going to feel in 4 or 5 years this pressure to move yet again, which was my original intention. Now I can be like, okay, this is my 10 or 15-year home. I'm good.
I'm good.
Like, I may have more home than I need today, but a few years from today, it will feel perfect.
Yep. Here's another way to ask that same question. Ready?
Yeah.
Would you rather buy something for $400,000 that's done perfect? Or would you rather buy something for $325,000 that you got to put $50,000 into over the next whatever years, 2-3 years, to get perfect the way you want it, and live in a construction zone or whatever it is? Now, by the way, you're going to get potentially a $25,000 better deal doing that, or or whatever that number is, $30,000 better deal doing that, 40,000. And is it worth it for you? So I know for me, I've got two young kids. And so I'm going to spend more money for a home. If I were to move today, I'm going to spend more money for a home so that I don't have to deal with doing all that stuff, because I'm busy at work. I'm busy being a father. I'm busy being a husband, and I don't want to manage the projects.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, that's allowing someone to make a decision what they feel like is best for their family. We are the stewards of a decision.
Well, and to put a kind of a fine point on that, Rashiko, just that second part, I always just try to go back to great questions, because a lot of times there's some sort of a communication disconnect between myself and that client if somebody says something like you're being bothersome or if it's feeling predatory. Because what in the typically the information disconnect is not understanding this market and maybe operating out of a mindset of the market 10 years ago. And here's what I mean by that. A lot of clients will come to me and say, hey, Mike, I need to make a move by August. Great. Awesome. It's Saturday. What time tomorrow are you available to go see homes? Right. And I may not have, necessarily taken the time to ask a couple of questions about where their knowledge level of the market is. I'm operating out of, hey, this is a fast market. We got to get out there and we got to pound the street. And as soon as something comes up, we've got to be in it the same day or the next day, or it's just gone. And they're operating out of okay, homes takes 2 weeks to sell. So anytime I go see this home over the next 2 weeks could be fine.
Yep.
And because of that information disconnect. So going back to just some great questions like, hey, Austin, on a scale of 1 to 10, how familiar are you with this market? Well, I'm a 6. Okay, then we got to have a conversation. All right. Are you aware of the average days on markets for great properties right now? No, I'm not. Okay, it's about 1.
Yep.
It's about 1. Now, that doesn't mean that we're going to go see homes every day. It means we're going to go see homes once or twice a week, but we got to see them fast.
Yep.
Because if I can at least, and then, I'm going to push you. I'm going to push you to get you into the home, because I want to get you the ability to say no to something before that ability is taken away from you by another buyer.
Yep.
You don't have to buy the home. That's not what getting into the home is about. It's about giving you an opportunity. And that's my role.
Yep.
And now we're simpatico. Now we have a great connection. So when I call them and text them and say, hey guys, I think the one's come up, then they're like, okay, we do have to actually jump out and go see it. We got to figure this out, because now we're in alignment on where the market actually is.
Yeah.
That's the biggest disconnect I've seen, where people have pushed back and said, hey, you called me and texted me on this home to go see. Why are you pushing me so hard?
Yeah.
Well, the reason is because I want to get you an opportunity to say yes or no to a property before somebody else does for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of the other things that we teach, Mike, along the same lines is, right, the old adage, people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care.
Yes.
In one of we have a bunch of core values on the team. I talked about some of the ones earlier in this Zoom or in this recording, but another one is, and we call it no jerks, right? And what I mean by that is, if we treat any of our clients or anybody in our lives like a transaction, they can feel that. 100%. And if instead we take the time to get to know what's important to someone and care enough about them and help them within that transaction, they can feel that. And so I think a lot of that starts with hiring as well, Mike, where when you hire people and the expectation within the culture of the team is that we are a culture of we are human beings that care about other human beings first.
Yeah.
If you're not the type of person that genuinely cares what happens to other human beings, then this is just not the right fit for you. And that's our culture, right? So we talk about that a lot. And I know that's look, that's kind of I'm kind of actually letting you guys under the hood within our organization, but that's something that we talk about almost every day. Right.
Yeah.
And so I actually think that takes care of a lot of those issues or potential issues. Yeah.
I agree with you on that. I 100% agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe the benefit of interest rate saving over time outweighs the higher price you may be paying today. Agreed.
100%.
Great point. So again, we're talking about sticker shock today. People are going, I can't believe homes cost this much, right?
Yep.
Interest saved is greater than a price hike today.
100% true.
Right?
100% true. Because it goes back to the thing that I always tell people, hey, if somebody's willing to loan me $1 million and my required payment is $1,000 a month, I'm going to go buy $1 million house.
Yeah.
That's how that works. And that's extreme, but it's true. I'll take the lower payment any day and pay more on the top side.
Yeah, agreed. Here, I'll actually show you the math. We've done this before, but I'll show it to you guys again. I'm going to share my screen, Mike.
Yep. And then also, let me throw this one up.
Yeah. Hey, much love to you, Rashiko. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Means a lot to me. All right. Let me share screen. Let me go to this tab. All right. You got this in front of you?
Yep. Got it.
All right. I'm going to give me some. So let's say a $300,000 home purchase, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, okay, so let's show 300,000, and then let's show if you ended up paying 350 for a home, like you went a little bit above your comfort zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, what do you want me to put for rate on this one? You want me to put today's rate?
Yeah, let's do today's rate.
Okay, let's do 3%, and then let's say if rates were even 1% higher, you want to say 4%?
You know what? Let's go back to the pre-pandemic 4.25.
4.25. Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you want to do the same 350 at 3% today's rates?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll do 30-year fixed on each. Okay. All right. So this first example is 300,000, 3%, 30 years. Your payment before taxes and insurance would be $1,264. Okay.
Yep.
And your total interest paid would be $155, which would mean that between principal and interest, you would pay $455,000 for that home. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now what Wael is saying is, okay, now let's take 300,000 and let's do 4.25 and let's do 30 years, 1475.
Mm-hmm.
1475 for that same home. And by the way, any other time in your life, a 4.25 rate, you would have been happy with. Agreed?
I would agree that either that print is super small or I'm getting old. My eyes, man. My eyes.
You can't see it? It's too small?
I can barely see it. No, but that's me. That's just me. Yeah.
I'm doing my
I need
best.
to update my prescription. This is a thing.
All right, so watch this. If you do 300,000 at 4.25, 30-year fixed, the payment's 1475 and your total interest paid is 231. So that means for that same home, instead of paying 455, you now pay 531. The difference in interest from 3% to 4.25, and 4.25 is a pretty damn good rate, Mike. The difference in interest
phenomenal rate
is like $75,000.
Yeah.
Now watch this. Sticker shock. Because some of you guys are going, I don't want to pay more than $300 for a home. But now let's look at what $350 looks like. If you buy a home today at $350 at 3%, it's a $1,475 payment. You can't make this stuff up. It's the exact same house payment as if you bought the home at $300,000 and 4.25%.
Yep.
Right now, because of how low interest rates are, because you're having sticker shock over the price, but you're not taking into account interest rates in the payment, you're getting $50,000 of extra purchasing power on a $300,000 purchase because of interest rates today.
Yeah.
You're paying exactly the same amount for that home, right? In both scenarios, you're paying $530,000 versus $530,000. Right? Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change, right? So sometimes we're in this like sticker shock moment, but like the truth is when you look at the data and we start to tell the bigger story, Mike, that we've been talking about today. One, they pumped money into our economy in 5 weeks versus 18 months. Two, even if home prices dropped, if you're planning on being in your home for 10 years, you're going to make out in the end. We've told stories and stories and stories. Now, look, we can't guarantee that, but over the course of time, it's just like buying any other asset. It's just like buying into the stock market. Over 10 years, you're going to win, right? Over a year, you might lose. Over a year and a half, you might lose. Over 2 years, you might lose. But over 10 years, you're going to win, right?
100%.
100%, right? Especially if you're buying into so don't get so caught up in the price that you're paying in that sticker shock. The other thing that we talked about is look at both. Look at a $300,000 home, and would I like to pay $1,264 for this home? And then look at a $350 home and say, am I cool? Would I rather pay $1,264 for this home or $1,475 for this home? It's a $211 difference.
Right.
Would I rather have this home, or would I rather pay $211 more per month for this home? And by the way, it's not good or bad, whatever your decision is. It's just you need to have the information to make the best decision for you and your family, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just out of curiosity, throw.
You want me to do it again? All right. Hold on. All right, I'm going back. All right, what you got?
All right. Let's do a couple of different numbers up there. Do it 200,000, 200,000, and 235. Why not?
All right, 200, 200, 235. Okay.
All right. How are we looking?
Rates?
Yeah, that was a pretty good guess.
Okay, so
look at this, guys.
Go ahead.
It's on the button. Was that $7 a month difference?
Yeah, $7.
7 versus 18 months ago. So you could buy a home for $235 today versus 200,000 18 months ago, and your payment difference is $7.
$7.
Now throw a 500, 500, and 600.
Okay.
Now where are we at?
Yeah, so 500,000, 3% is 2108. 500,000, 4.25 is 2459. 600,000 at 3% is 2529. It's
right.
It's a $70 difference.
Maybe let's go 580.
Look, someone that's buying a $600,000 home, I hope $70 doesn't make a difference for you.
And if so, you should not be buying a $600,000
home. You should buy a $600,000 home.
Yeah.
It's more like 585.
I was gonna guess that too. Man, I should have went with my gut.
Whatever. It's like 583.
All right. So purchasing power on a 500 has increased $83,000.
You get $83,000 more in purchasing power at today's rates than what you did a year ago.
Yeah. Or an easy way to put this
on
is
a $500,000 home.
Yeah, purchasing power has increased about 17 to 18%. So whatever you're thinking, 18 months, like if you thought about shopping for a home 18 months ago and you went and got pre-approval and you talked to the lender and that same payment, you can increase your purchase power by 17 or 18%. And that's what that is.
Mike, did we just switch to karaoke? Did you just go on blue da da dee da 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 dee? Remember that one?
Oh my God, so old, but so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, this is good stuff.
It's really good stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good stuff. All right, what else, guys? Fantastic content today.
Truth. I feel like we just went on this like 50-minute sprint.
I know. Well,
yeah.
but there's a bigger story behind the sentence. I'm not seeing anything I like. No,
yeah, way bigger story.
Anything that you like for the price you think you should be paying.
Yes.
But when you tell the bigger story and you actually dive into the bigger narrative, if it makes sense for you and your family to be in a home for 10 years, at least get out there and allow yourself to make a decision. Go look at the 300, go look at the 350, go look at the 500, go look at the 600.
Yeah.
It's the same payment.
Even go look at the 250 or 275 and say, hey, could I, if I buy a home even less, could I make it what I want it to be? Do that too. Do all of it.
Go look at the 200 and the 235. By the way, what's the difference in a house, by the way, Mike, between 200 and 235?
Night and day.
Night and day.
Night and day. I mean, right here, right down the road in Livonia, that's a night and day purchase.
Yeah. Totally remodeled.
Mm-hmm.
Totally remodeled, 3-bedroom brick ranch, three bed, bath and a half brick ranch. Yeah. Versus a project.
And then you're mortgaging the kitchen, mortgaging the bathroom, mortgaging those things. So instead of coming out of pocket with 20, 30, 40,000 to redo all these things, you're paying $150 a month.
Yep. It's interesting.
It is.
What else?
We nailed a lot of stuff today. All right, guys, questions. like bring us another question. Anything that's on your mind, any feedback, any comments, anything at all.
Yeah. Hey, throw up this one about the tenant.
Yeah. Let me grab that one. This one right here.
I can't listen today. I've had a single tenant owing $30,000, been a long time unemployed, passed away. It's been a nightmare on so many levels. Then she threw up another comment.
Mm-hmm.
Renters aids as zip code discrimination as renters and tenants in higher income zip codes get zip per county. Higher income zip codes that tenants and landlords are both unemployed and not included in aid. Ugh. All right, there's a lot to unpack here. Here's what I would say. I don't know what's going through your head, but if you find yourself in a landlord situation, guys, sometimes what I find, I actually gave this advice to a client of ours that ended up being an accidental landlord, and here's what I mean by that. Now, look, if you're an actual real estate investor, look, that's built into the risk.
It is.
Sorry, that's built into the risk. If you're an accidental landlord, meaning that you owned a condo or owned a home and whatever, you got married or whatever and moved in with somebody, and so you ended up renting out that because you didn't quite want to sell it, and you ended up as an accidental landlord. Sometimes what we do is we get stubborn about this person owes me this money, right? Instead of, and I actually gave this advice to one of our past clients, Mike. She had a tenant that just wouldn't get out.
Yeah.
And she goes, "What do you think I should do?" Attorneys. And I go, "Hey, go knock on the door and say, 'Hey, I'm going to give you $1,000 if you move out in 3 days.'" And she said, "I'm not doing that. Blah, blah, blah. This person owes me all this money and blah, 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 blah." And I said, "Okay." And I called 2 months later. I said, "What's going on?" And it was the same story. And I go, "Hey, go knock on the door and say, 'I'll give you $1,000 if you move out right now.'" And she did.
Yeah.
And she did, and they did.
And done.
And it was done. Right. And now, by the way, you can, she lost some money there, but she was able to get the house on the market. Sorry, she had the option. She could either find a tenant that was going to pay, or she had the option to get the house on the market. Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's not the worst thing in the world to do. Matter of fact, you have a strategy around rentals, Mike, that you talk about all the time, where like you'll actually underprice a rental in compared to the market. So like if a home could rent for $1,800, you'll price it out at $1,700 or $1,750, right?
Yep.
Why do you do that?
And my intention there is I don't want 1 or 2 or 3 applications. I want 30 applications, because then I've got the choice. I've got the choice of the credit scores and the work histories and all of those things. Like I got to tell you, Austin, I've been very fortunate. I haven't had to do a kick out. I may have maybe, let's call it $25 or $30 a month underpriced myself, but the cost of a knockout drag out battle, when you go to court, plus the lost rents, plus the potential damage, it's not worth it. It is honestly not worth it.
It's not worth it. By the way, for you to accept $50 less a month to get the tenant that you want, it's $600 a year.
Oh my God, it's so much better. It's so much better. I mean, that one in Southfield that I've got, that little condo, I just did that on where I said, "Hey, last month, you turn in the keys and everything's, because I just need her out. You turn in the keys and everything's perfect. Don't worry about that last month."
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was having a lot of payment issues and whatnot, like a lot of late pay, slow pay. She admitted, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. And I'm done with that condo. I just want to get it on the market and sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just found out from Andrew yesterday that it is actually vacant and it's ready to go. And all we need to do is clean it up, get it on the market, and we're good. Now, I bought that condo 2 years ago, cash, and I'm going to sell it for between $25,000 and $30,000 more than what I paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got 10 out of 12 payments on this last one. Close enough. Close enough. I mean, is it ideal? No.
It's not perfect.
But is it as ideal as it could be? Yes.
You know what's funny? I was actually talking to, I got a neighbor who owns Coney Islands, and he was talking to me about, like, his wife was mad at him. I know this sounds funny, but his wife was mad at him because they have on camera, right? Because they have cameras all over the Coneys, and they're open 24 hours a day in that business, right? And so he has like what he does is he basically, the cook is the supervisor, and he pays that guy a wage and whatever, that guy's supervisor. And they have on camera one of the servers walked out with a big block of cheese.
Yeah.
Right. They have it on camera. And the wife was like, you need to fire that guy, and you need to da 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 da. And he goes, bro, it's just, sometimes it's the cost of business.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the cost of business. And in the alternative is, I got to be at that restaurant 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
He goes, so if someone walks out with a block of cheese, I might be out. I don't know what a block of cheese costs in a big bulk, right? But I might be out $25. Even if the guy does it once a week.
Yeah.
Right. For the year, I'm out $1,000. But the fact of the matter is other than that, the employee's good. They've been with us for a few years, and they show up and by the way, if the person working at the Coney who stole the cheese is listening to this, he knows what you did.
You know
what you did. No, I'm teasing. But sometimes we get so caught up in, like, tripping over pennies that we forget the bigger picture.
And that's it. And bigger retail shops like your Best Buys and your Nordstrom, stuff like that, they have a term for it, and it's called shrinkage. And they just have a certain percentage. It's not a high percentage, but a certain percentage where they know that there's just going to be some theft or some damage. It just is going to happen every year. Yeah. It's just the cost of doing business, which sucks, by the way. I mean, it sucks that that's the world that we live in, that there are people that have that mindset of, how can I scam? Like, this is just the one thing, and this is just a mindset thing that I don't understand. There are a lot of people in this world that think that you have to lose for me to win.
Oh, interesting. Not that we both win at the same time. Right.
And that's it. I was going to say, it doesn't work that way. I have not found life to work that way. I found life to work actually kind of the opposite. You win and I win, and we both actually end up winning more.
Yeah.
Like, I've had tenants call me up and say, hey man, I just got laid off, or I just got furloughed, or whatever this is. Can we work something out? And I'd be like, yeah, let's do a half-month pay for a little while, and then we'll add it back on over the next couple of months, or whatever that looks like. And we'll work something out to make sure they keep their lights on, keep their phone turned on, keep food on the table, keep the kids clothed. Why not? Why not work something out? I mean, somebody's willing to be honest and direct and upfront and say, hey, I have a need. Yeah, I'm going to work with them.
Yeah.
And we'll both end up winning for that situation.
Yeah. I read a psychologist. I forget where I read this. But what he was talking about, what this author was talking about, was it's the same kind of thing for, like, children's athletics and sportsmanship.
Okay.
Like, if you got two teams of 10-year-olds playing soccer, or even high school, right?
Yeah.
Or even high school, it actually doesn't matter who wins or loses. It actually doesn't matter who wins or loses. The only way to actually lose is to not have great sportsmanship, because what you're doing is you're going outside of the societal of competing, right? The actual way to win is competing, because what you're doing is you're within a certain boundary of rules, and you're competing against one another, and that's the way to win. Like, you're competing against one another, and at the end of the day, somebody scores 3 goals and somebody scores 2, but the actual importance of that is the socialization of the whole thing, and playing within the boundaries of what's deemed acceptable, right?
Agreed.
It's very interesting. Like, and so the only way to lose is with poor sportsmanship on both ways. So we're a loser.
And that's really it.
Because if you do that enough times, right, here's what happens, by the way. If you do that enough times, they stop asking you to play with them.
Yeah.
And that's the real loss.
And that's the loss.
That's the actual loss, right? So it's a bigger picture conversation. Anyway, by the way, that's why one of the things that we say in our business is, like, no one transaction is ever worth a career, or treat your fellow real estate agents as best as you possibly can, because you're going to have to do another transaction with them down the road.
Well, and that's it. And it just becomes an easy win-win or no deal. Integrity first.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
Operate out of that. And actually it makes your life a lot simpler because then you don't have to really think about options because you know which option it is.
Yep. And when you screw up, say you're sorry. I've done it.
Yeah.
I screwed one up this year. Called the agent, said I'm sorry.
You mess up, you fess up. Easy enough.
Yeah, move on. We're a forgiving society. We really are. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, well, you want to tie a bow on it?
Do it. Go for it.
Let's do it. Man, awesome job today, Mike.
Likewise. Dude, this was a good one. This is a really good one. Yeah.
It's really good. Okay, so we started this video talking about gratitude. And so behind Mike is begin every day with a grateful heart. And let me just express gratitude. And I know, Mike, that you feel the same way. We're grateful for the opportunity to speak to you guys today. We're grateful for the opportunity to service our clients. We're grateful for the opportunity to impact our team members' lives and our own lives. We're grateful for, and I don't know about you, Mike, I'm humbled to be even in a position where we get to impact so many clients' lives. And when someone buys a home, that's where they do graduation parties, and that's where they do whatever holiday, right? Christmas or whatever holiday. That's where you do your family events. And I don't know. We're so grateful and humbled to be a part of all of that. And we're grateful and humbled that you guys rode along with us today for an hour on Saturday morning. You could have been anywhere. So I hope you learned something, and I appreciate you. Anything else to add on that?
No, that was perfect. Thank you, Austin. I appreciate it.
Cool.
All right, guys. Make it a great Saturday. Make it a great weekend.
Good job by you.
Great job by you.
See you, buddy.